My name is Sophia Gonzalez. I'm a natural dye artist. Today I have a quick art project for you that utilizes the materials you might have in your neighborhood or in your neighborhood park. We're going to use natural dyes to create watercolors or inks that you can use to dye fabric as well as to paint with. Natural dyes are a great way to use a really environmentally friendly color rather than traditional dyes, inks, or paints that are toxic for our environments and made from chemicals, as well as when they wash into our water stream, they are also polluting our water and our oceans and the water around us. So today I picked some loquat leaves, which I'm sure you have in your neighborhood if you're here in San Diego. Loquat leaves are from the loquat tree, which create those really beautiful orange, they kind of look like apricots, in early late spring. So they're pretty much done now, but their leaves are a great source of natural dye. You can use fallen leaves, so if they're yellow, they'll create a really nice neon coral color. Or you can just prune a few from your tree. Usually the more mature leaves will give you a better color. What you'll need for this project is a pot. You can use a pasta pot or some kind of stainless steel pot. You'll need some loquat leaves. The more loquat leaves you use, the more saturated the color will be. So I would say at least 5 to 10 leaves will get you going. You can use kitchen scissors or pruners if you have them. What we're going to do to start off is we are going to trim the leaves into 1-inch sections and then let them fall into the pot. These smaller pieces will allow more color to come out of the plant material, so you'll get a more vibrant ink or watercolor. You don't have to be too perfect about it, just small pieces. If you're working with kids, you can of course tear them with your hands as well, or use smaller scissors rather than the pruners. So you can collect a good amount. It's a great way to go on a neighborhood walk to see if you can spot the tree and to learn more about the neighborhood you're living in as well. If it's not your tree, it's always good to ask if you can prune a few and make a new neighbor that way as well. Once you have a good amount of pieces, see if you can see in here, you can see we've got a good collection of loquat leaves. What you're going to do is you're going to add water now to the top of the pot. Since we're going to make more of a paint today, so you can paint with a paintbrush on paper, you're going to fill just enough water so that the leaves are covered. Not a ton. If you're using fabric, you'd want more water so the fabric can move around, but I would say just about a couple inches of water so that the leaves are submerged but not just soaking in a bunch of water. Alright, so here you can see we've got our loquat leaf pieces cut up into about 1-inch strips. We've got just enough water so they're covered and can move around a little bit. What we're going to do now is you're going to put it on your stove and bring it to a low boil for about an hour or so. You'll see that the water that is now clear will start to turn a nice coral, almost reddish tone pretty quickly. It usually takes about an hour because the fibers of the leaves are much tougher, so give it some time. You can also just let it soak overnight and slowly that color will come to be. Once you see that the water is a color, you can strain out the leaf material once the dye is cooled, and you can compost those leaf pieces or put them back in the yard, and then you'll have your ink that will be ready to paint with. Another great kitchen material that you can use are avocado pits. If you're like my family, we eat a ton of these each week. So what you can do is after you eat an avocado, you can rinse off the pit, and I like to keep mine in the freezer until it's time to dye with them. So today I brought a bunch out of my freezer. The more you have, the more saturated of color you will get. This creates another really cool ink color. What'll happen is you'll bring them to a low boil, just like you did with the loquat leaves, and they will start to crack open. The water will start to turn a nice peachy tone. It creates a really beautiful pink color. If you add iron or a rusty nail, it'll add darker tones and create a darker purple or even a gray color. It's a really great way to reuse kitchen waste and create natural color to either dye or paint with. Alright, so once your leaves or your avocado pits have boiled and you've gotten a nice color in your dye bath, the liquid is now a color, either that loquat leaf hot coral or the avocado peach tone. You're going to strain out that material and you can compost that, and then you'll have a liquid that you can put in a jar and use as ink. I like to add a little bit of white vinegar, or you can use an essential oil like eucalyptus or clove oil, and this will help with the antimicrobial factor of these natural inks. They are natural, so if you don't add those, you might see a little bit of mold on the top, but that's easy to skim off if you need. You can also store them in your fridge for a longer lasting life too. I like to store mine in jars so that I can quickly seal them and add a little bit of that vinegar or oil so that they can last a long time. Now that you have your inks, you can paint with the different colors. I like to label mine so I know what they are, but here's that avocado, kind of peachy tone. Here's that loquat, orangey tone. And this one is a yellow that I made from some rosemary. So herbs are a great way to get a nice yellow color as well. So they kind of act like a liquid watercolor. You can dip your brush in it and start to paint, and you can see that the color is really bright on this cotton watercolor paper. It's fun because you can mix them, you can layer with them, and you can see how they'll change color as they're mixed together. You can see that avocado makes a really pretty peach tone too. They're really great if you wanted to create a layered sunset type of picture. I think that would be a great use of these. You can do a few layers and come back, or you can mix them all together and create a beautiful inky mess. Then eventually they'll dry, and you can see some examples here. You can see the different layers that you can create and all the different colors that you can get.